Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome into another episode of the Top Flight Podcast. We're Austin TV. I'm here with my G Primo. What's up, mate? How are you doing? Welcome to another show.
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. It was a little cold today, a little cold yesterday for sure. This past weekend was kind of chilly, but we got the home opener out of the way. We're all excited for that. And then today I kind of just took a little bit of a chill day. I went on a walk with my wife,
Ooh,
enjoyed the day.
ooh, ooh.
But it was a good weekend so far. Good weekend.
I love that, man. That sounds really, really nice. And it was chilly. It was chilly today. It was chilly last night. My little brother was with y'all in the supporter
Hmm.
section. He didn't have a sweater. He didn't have a jacket. I almost wanted to punch him in his stomach. I was like, dude, what are you doing, man? So he told me he was like, hey, I think I'm gonna leave right after the game because I'm freezing. I was like, dude, just go. You know what I'm saying? Go home before my mom gets mad at me for you getting sick. You know what I'm saying? But no, actually today also, Primo, we were at the card event organized
Oh,
by our good
hmm.
friend Jake 619 by 512. We also had
Yes,
our good
sir.
friend Sierra Deuce there. Ozzy was there. You know, big card collectors. Those three. They're on like the Austin FC Mount Rushmore of card collectors. And I'm
Hmm.
not gonna lie, Primo. I'm not gonna lie. I might be getting into the game myself, brother. Look at that. Boom. Little
Nice
care
step.
package. Little care package given to me by my good friend, my good buddy Sierra Deuce. I really appreciate it. I almost couldn't take him. I was like, look, dude, I'm not taking this, man. And he was like, nope, this is your starter to begin your collection. And I was like, man, I wish there was more people like you out there in this world, Sierra Deuce. But other than sports cards, Primo, I took advantage at the event. I was making the rounds, and I also got some Pokemon cards. My
Nice.
favorite Pokemon is a Charmander. Of course, he evolves into the Charmeleon, and then everybody chases a Charizard. So I made a pretty nice purchase. I bought this little set right here. We also had the dispensary ATX there. He gave me two very important things, not for myself to keep anymore, but you and I have some homework with these two things that he gave us. He gave us the blind bags of the Stuver pin to give
Hmm.
them away to two young fans in the fan reaction. So next time we see some
Oh,
youngsters
okay,
pull up
yeah.
to the fan reactions, we got the homework to give them away. And those are thanks to the dispensary ATX. Please make sure to give them a follow. Very good people. They make all of our stickers, everything. They actually made the stuff for our Patreon care packages. So somebody that I respect and I admire dearly. Shout out to Maiji Francisco from the dispensary ATX. So please make sure to give them a follow and check out all of the stuff that they have to offer, mate. But it was a chilly one. We did the Spanish podcast in a picnic table with the card show in the back. And I
Oh,
if I get sick, it's my fault because it was my idea to have it there outside. So it'll be my fault. It'll be my fault. But I want to send a shout out to everybody that was with us yesterday. I'm sorry. I want to send a shout out to our entire We Are Awesome TV team. I'm talking Dante Valencia, Aaron Flicks, RDZ Flicks. I was about to call him Chris, but I like to call him RDZ Flicks. My G Scott. You, Primo, for handling the fan reaction. We had Bada also jump in and help out with the camera work. And then of course, Diego Valencia doing his thing with Coach Nico in the press conference, asking all the questions that need to be asked in Spanish. We have a great community of English speaking media members, but the Spanish content needs a little bit more. And here we are. We're Austin TV en Espanol to bring out all that content for our Spanish speaking community and also people that want to get into, learning a little bit of Spanish. We provide subtitles, we provide translations that are 100% accurate. So everybody can understand what is being said at every single moment, either in the mix zone or in the press conference. So I want to send a shout out to all the boys, everybody, Salome also. It was a fantastic group effort. And I think this was a fantastic match day one in terms of the content that we have been producing. And I've been getting a lot of love lately. A lot of folks have been saying that they love what we do or whatnot. And that's literally why we keep doing this because of the community, the fan base, so people can be informed in any kind of language. I mean, when we had Alex here, we even dibble dabbled in Portuguese, brother. I mean, that's how we're moving, mate. So, no, just shout out to everybody, gentlemen. Congratulations. Phenomenal work, everybody. And that's going to be our standard every single match day at Q2 Stadium. And also expect us in Miami, expect us in some away games, and also some other little things coming up here and there. And shout out to the folks on Patreon, shout out to the folks on the Discord. Because of that support, because of that love, we're able to do a lot of these things. So if you want to support us in that way, sign up for the Patreon. You get access to the Discord. You get a care package as well. Shout out to my G Gina. I was able to deliver hers at the event that was outside Q2 Stadium before the match against Minnesota United, Primo. But before we get into the game or whatnot, there are some important topics to cover before we officially jump into that, mate. And of course, my new way to start the podcast is talking about the academy. There was some recent news that came across our desk. I want to start off with this piece of news right here, Primo. Belema Kemwell, center back, Enrique Balboa, center mid, Sebastian Gallegos, goalkeeper, and Oliver Hamari, a right wing player, also is somewhat of a forward. Really good player, him. They're part of the U14 age group of the academy. Well, they have been called up to the U14 U.S. Boys National Team South Regional Mini Camp in March, Primo. I mean, that is a big achievement for these boys at such a young age. It's also a really big achievement and a sign of recognition for what the academy is doing and what they're trying to do, pushing players through that pipeline to be successful at every level. And I just wanted to give a round of applause to the academy because they need to keep doing this. They need to keep doing a lot of this. And also massive, massive congratulations to those four boys. Hard work pays off, Primo, 100%. I mean, don't take it from me. And I could tell you firsthand that they work very, very hard. But just look at the body of work that they've been putting together. The coaches have been putting a lot into helping these boys be successful. And I'm just happy to see that there's Austin FC players being called up to these camps, to these mini camps or whatnot. And last podcast, we were talking about Eric Feliciano. He got called up to that camp in Georgia. And so good news coming out from the Austin FC Academy right now, mate. So I just wanted to start off with that. And I'm very excited for what's to come for those boys. And also, Primo, we have some news here from the Austin FC 2 side, a little bit higher than the academy level, the MLS Next Pro. Austin FC 2 signs left back Dren Dobruna to a 2-year guaranteed deal through 2027 with an option for 2028. This is a player that's actually he was very how can I say? He's very high regarded, Primo. I think that's the right thing to say. A player of a boatload of talent, actually. If I may, I'd like to read the post that went along with it. We shared the image on screen here. But with this young lad, we have here that Dobruna is a 20-year-old left back, originally from Waterbury, Connecticut. He's represented both Kosovo and Albania at the youth international level, most recently playing in Kosovo's U19 side for the qualifiers for the Euro U19 Championship. And then also here, it says, as a young player, Dobruna spent time in the New York City FC Academy. He appeared professionally 3 times, Primo, for the New York City FC 2 side in MLS Next Pro, and 8 times for Hartford Athletic in the USL Championship. So this is a player that has been through multiple levels in the United States landscape. And it doesn't stop there, brother. Dobruna began his collegiate career at Siena College, earning all MAAC First Team and MAAC Rookie of the Year honors. He then transferred to the University of Dayton for his sophomore season in 2025, where he started all 17 games he appeared in, ranked second on the team with 4 assists, and was named to the A10 All-Conference second team. Now, that's from the official press release from the Austin FC Communications. I mean, based off of that, Primo, I'm excited to see this to see this young boy play. I mean, how do you feel?
Yeah, he sounds like a great player, some good
Mm-hmm.
experience under his belt. Some of these guys coming into this next level, this MLS Pro team can, sometimes they don't have as much as experience as this guy. Maybe this is Austin C2 is their very first, team that they're stepping into. But this guy sounds like he's had some good experience so far, getting called up for both national teams, which is always
Mm-hmm.
good. You got
Yeah.
2 national teams who are wanting wanting you to represent them. So sounds like he has very good talent, and then they lock him down for 2 years.
Yeah.
So very it sounds really exciting.
100%, man. And then I forgot to share these photos on screen so maybe folks can get more of a visual aid of who the youngsters from the academy are, the ones that got called up to that South Regional mini camp. This gentleman right here, Sebastian Gallegos, Very, very talented goalkeeper. Works so hard. He's very vocal on the pitch. I love watching that their games at this level because they're like mini soldiers. You know, they're it's like you think that they're kids, but they're young men shaping themselves to be like professional soccer players. And I remember with Alex and Diego, we went to an Arbolito Cup, and those are like U12 players. The way that they use their body, the way that they communicate with each other, the way that they go about the game, Primo. It's like if you're watching, I mean, it's higher than a Sunday league level. I mean, I've played in some Sunday league games, and guys don't know how to use their body. Guys don't know how to place a 5 yard pass to the nearest guy to his feet. I mean, there's so much imperfections in some of these Sunday league games, and it was crazy to see these excuse me, these little tiny men, these little tiny boys just do things so just properly on the field, and it's so nice to see them play. They take it very serious, and that's at the U12 level. You know, this is the U14s, like I said. Sebastian Gallego's the one on screen. We also have here Enrique Balboa, EJ. He's really good too. I actually remember seeing him around when the All Star came around. He was doing some content with the MLS Next. I thought that was really cool. And then we have here Oliver Hamadi. Now this boy, Primo, let me tell you about Oliver Hamadi. I've talked about him before. Oliver Hamadi is probably to me one of the most exciting players in the entire academy, not the 14 level, in the entire academy. Oliver Hamadi is one of the most exciting players. He has a hell of a shot. He just the rocket that he possesses in his foot, in his leg, in his thigh, whatever you want to say it, is actually quite scary. And the thing that's not scary is that he's an Austin FC player right now. And one of the biggest criticisms that I've had for the Austin FC Academy is that sometimes they were unable to retain that top talent. And hey, Oliver Hamadi is one of those guys where you need to remember the name because even if he is not successful with Austin FC, you just know that somewhere, some way, he's going to be successful if he continues this course, if he continues this path, if he stays focused because they're so young. And with all the temptations in today's world, all the distractions in today's world, everybody has a phone in their hand. I mean, my daughter is 2 years old and she likes to she fights me for the iPad. I'm like, no, dude, no, you know what I'm saying? I'm the dad here, not you. So just if these boys can stay focused, if these boys can continue the path and just listen to their coaches, listen to their parents, and just start, continue developing themselves as these young men, as these young players, big things, great things are coming for these guys. And last but not least at all, we have Belema. One of the dude, this kid is so secure on the ball. Center back, by the way, center back, so secure on the ball, so safe. You think he's a grown man the way that he plays out there. I mean, it's no coincidence that these four boys have been called up to the South Regional mini camp, and I'm excited for them. I'm excited for everything that is coming for them, and also all the Austin FC Academy players. They're there for a reason, and if they can just continue, like I said, if they can continue their work, good things are coming for every single one of them. But remember those names: Oliver Hamadi, Sebastian Gallegos, Belema Kemwell. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing that right. If not, I'll just call him Belema, and also EJ Enrique Balboa. So keep an eye out for that. The official list will be coming out here soon. Really good things coming from the Austin FC Academy, and I'm proud to be, releasing this news because I mean, you saw me, Primo. There was photos recently that leaked, that surfaced, where I was chilling on the pitch, on the grass with the umbrella over me, and I was watching academy games. I'm out there watching academy games, and the caption that I put on that, I mean it. I respect every level of this club. I just every level. I give it the same amount of respect, and I'm happy that these boys are getting some love, and hard work pays off. That's the last thing that I'll say, mate. But anything you want to add on the academy players, Primo? I know that not many people have the same info that I have on the academy, but you heard me rant. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I mean, no, I agree, and I think, if you're just involved in the team, if you're interested in the first team, you should definitely check out the academy level. Sounds like they have some really great talent out there. You're making me want to go to a game now, man. I feel like
They're free.
I literally
They're
just looked up
free.
the schedule. They got some games going on the 28th.
Oh.
Some U14, some U19s is what I'm seeing. So
Mhm.
I'll probably go check them out. There's some of them are early in the morning. You got some maybe towards the afternoon. So whatever works out for your schedule. Looks like they got something for each time slot there. But
I like
sounds
the
good,
ones in the
man. Sounds
morning.
exciting. The morning
I
ones.
like the ones in the morning because I go, I get a little coffee, I get a little bear claw, and I'm out there hanging out. Bear claw is not a white claw. Bear claw is like a little piece of bread. I'm out there, I'm chilling, I'm munching, and I make connections. I network out there as well. I'm there doing two things at once, sometimes three things at once. But no, shout out to those boys. And yeah, just like Primo said, I highly recommend everybody to go out there. Primo just read the schedule that you can go check out some of those players, some of those academy levels, and you won't regret that decision to spend your Saturday morning checking out the future of the club that you support, future of the club that you love so much, and we can put a cap on that, brother. But all righty, let's see. I guess we can get into the first team now. We're here obviously to mainly talk about the game. Austin FC against Minnesota. That happened last night. We're recording this on Sunday, February the 22nd. 2-2 draw, Primo. Austin lost the lead twice. Brandon Hindsight got his goal. Mir Suni thought he had the winner. Robert Taylor suffered a weird non-contact injury, and Minnesota capitalized on that moment, scoring in the 91st minute. Yaboa absolutely powering header over Kolmanich. I saw a lot of criticism for the left back there. Why was Yaboa left so unmarked by the Austin FC defenders? They were wondering who was the closest. A lot of people blamed Kolmanich, but I don't think it's just one person to kind of go for in that situation. But we're gonna get there. Before we get into those deep topics, Primo, I wanted to ask for the reaction from the fan base. You took over the fan reactions, and before we get into the match, I just wanted to see what the post was. What did you get from the fans outside Q2 Stadium last night?
I got some interesting takes, but overall, I feel like everyone is still hopeful. Definitely, everyone's not seeing it as as a bad reflection.
Mm,
Um, some of them were even saying they look night and day from last season.
mm,
So a lot of them, I think the one of the most common takes was that there is a huge difference from the way they were playing the last season to this season, and that just seemed enough for the fan base to kind of move forward and not be so because it was a tough game. It was a tough game. You lose the lead twice, but all that kind of overshadowed it, especially with the new players that came in. A lot of people were liking Facundo. A lot of people were
mm-hmm.
liking Jaden. So, they it's probably what they weren't hoping for. I mean, you want a dub, especially on your home opener on the first game. Um, so they're disappointed on that part, but the point was enough. The point was enough, I
Yeah.
think. So.
Yeah, it's definitely an improvement to what people have been used to seeing from Austin FC. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of people have begun to associate Austin FC with boring football. I mean, they scored a super low amount of goals last season. They were great defensively, but the offensive output and goals was not, it was not what you would expect from a team that wants to strive to win serious trophies. They did get to the US Open Cup final. We all know that, that, I know that as well. But the U.S. Open Cup final is more of a shorter road. It's 5 games to get to the final, and even then, Austin was, they had that freakish game against El Paso where they came back, but they still had BB9. Then they had the game where they beat up Houston at home. I remember Ilie scored a goal, Bucari scored a goal as well. That was one of the most convincing U.S. Open Cup games that Austin probably had. And you got to that Minnesota match, the semifinal away from home, and it took a CJ last second winner to bring the final to Q2 Stadium. And I don't want to talk about the final because everybody knows what happened. But the reality is, pretty much, is that people were beginning to associate Coach Nico, his style of play, with boring football. And that's just a reality. That's what the fan base was saying. So to come out against Minnesota in the home opener and score in the 7th minute very early, and then not only score early, you could say, it was a fluke, the corner kick. No, it was no fluke. Facundo Torres delivered a beautiful cross in from the corner. And after the match, Primo, I got to ask Facu. I said, hey, just I wanted to ask him about just how he felt throughout the game or whatnot, and he gave me a little bit extra. He said that the team had been working on those dead ball situations the entire week. So the corner kick was something that they were hoping to use to hurt Minnesota, and they did that exactly in minute 7. And I also want to say the cross from Facundo Torres is something that you really haven't seen or had for Austin FC in so long. I mean, I remember the criticism that was thrown at Owen Wolf, and although Owen Wolf had a fantastic year last season, 100%, people just still didn't like his crosses into the box, and I didn't really like them either, if I'm being quite honest. And it's no coincidence that Facundo's first one for Austin FC was his first assist, his first goal contribution, and that just also adds to the fact that this guy has an insane amount of quality, brother. I mean, the fans told you, I'm sure you saw it with your eyes. You know, we saw it in the highlights with Orlando when it was being announced that he was joining Austin FC. It's just a pleasure. It's fantastic to have Facundo Torres here. And it's just the first game. I mean, they're going to build off of this. The team is going to obviously fix the little things that they could have done better, things that they need to clean up. And we'll get to that as well. I have a take on that also. But no, it was great for Austin to go up early and have their foot on the gas for a big chunk of the match. I mentioned that in the first 35 minutes of the first half, Brad Stewart did not have a single save. He did not have anything to do. And then literally in the final 10 minutes of the first half, I feel like I jinxed it a little bit. He came alive, and not in a good way, because Minnesota was starting to knock on the door. They were getting some nice shots off. The one that Stuber saved, and it went to the corner kick that ended in their first goal. That was really the first time the Minnesota was starting to hurt this Austin FC side. And I just wanted to say how one of the things to fix, Primo, in my opinion, is the aerial duels, the aerial battles, just the aerial support that without Julio Cascante, I've been saying this for a while, and folks have been ripping me apart because they don't rate Julio. I get that 100%. I understand if you don't rate him, but you cannot deny the fact that he was secure in the air. He was a monster in the air. He won almost everything in the air. And without a guy like Cascante, Austin FC is gonna suffer in the air, mate. Svatok is big, but he's not that tall. I don't associate him with being so, just so monstrous in the air. I associate Svatok with fantastic ground duels. I associate Svatok with, just being a bully to players on the ground level, right? When things start to go in the air, then Austin FC starts to suffer. And we saw that in this game and also in preseason. It was something that everybody was kind of putting a bookmark on. Everybody that was kind of saying, hey, we need to watch out for those crosses into the box. And that's something that Nico Dubersarski kind of mentioned after this game. We talked to him as well, and he was saying that, there's things that we need to correct, there's things that we need to fix, obviously, but it's the first game, and they need to continue on this path. And number one for me is the aerial battles, the way that the team defends corner kicks and dead ball situations. That has to be worked on. Facu said that they were working on that defensively as well during the week, but it definitely needs more attention, clearly, because of what we saw against Minnesota, mate. What do you think?
No, yeah, for sure, I agree. Maybe a little bit. Yeah, we just gotta get better at those dead balls, and I think it's just something that's, it's something that's easily improved. It's something that they're easily able to improve throughout maybe the next week. But if you think about it, if it wasn't for those, we probably would have won this match. I
Mm-hmm.
think the aerial duels could get a lot better. You got, Heinz, like, maybe that can get you some clears there, but I think it's all about just the self-awareness, also seeing who's around you.
Mm-hmm.
It for sure hurt us this game, but it's
Mm-hmm.
something that can probably be easily cleaned up. I don't think it's going to be an issue all season long.
Yeah,
It's just something that, and it's also kind of like a team by team thing. Maybe there's some teams that don't cross as much as Minnesota. Maybe,
that's true.
so
That's true.
just seeing it as a team by team thing. But now where you can, where you're vulnerable, where you can get exposed, and so maybe that's enough for them to clean it up.
100%, mate. And we'll see just what the game plans are moving forward. Just like you said, it changes team by team. I know Austin has guys dedicated to figuring certain teams out and how you can hurt them. I want to send a shout out to Coach Nico Boss. He's one of those guys that Coach Nico relies on for these kind of things. So, some things to correct, obviously, just like Nico Dubersarski said. But overall, Primo, I leave this match with some positives. I leave this match with some good things. I thought that there was more positives than negatives. Obviously, you left 2 points on the table. And nobody wants to do that. No team wants to be at home and lose points after being in the league twice. But this is a new group. This is a like a brand new group, not a brand new group, but they are new players. There are new guys that were brought in, and And overall, I liked what I saw from these new players. And we can kind of get into that topic right now. This was the lineup that we projected with Ole Mexico, Ole USA. We were working on this together. We collabed on this post on social media as well. Want to send a big shout out to them. And we almost got it, brother. We almost got it. I think every single player except Biru was in the Austin FC starting lineup. I mean, maybe the positions are a little bit different, but we have here the official one that Austin FC sent out. You had Kolmanich as the big surprise in the back line, and that's where I wanted to get started right now, Primo. I mean, uh, just let's talk about this back line, this back four that Austin FC sent out to face Minnesota. You see John Gallagher, the right back. Svatok, I gave him his praise on the ground duel level. I thought he had a fantastic center back game. Reminded me a lot of the performance that Campillo had against America recently in the Super Clásico in the Mexican League. And also Brendan Heinzlike, big ups to him for getting his goal, really setting the team up for success at the 7th minute very early on, and then obviously being on the front foot, like I said. But the big surprise, Primo, to me, Diego Valencia and even our friend Eric McCoy from Oak Tree Times, and I think a lot of the fan base will agree that it was a big surprise to see John Kolmanich there in the starting 11 for Austin FC. And we know the quality that Kolmanich has in his left boot. We know the things he can do when Austin FC is chasing the game, putting balls into the box or whatnot. But after everything that I have read, after everything that I've been told in the last 24 hours, and actually Coach Nico actually confirmed it 100%, it was a disciplinary decision or a decision, it was a decision made by Coach Nico to discipline both Guilherme Biru and Bersard Salovic. They did not include them in this team at all, not in the starting 11 or on the bench, Primo. And, at first folks were thinking, okay, well, what's going on here? Is he sick? Blah, blah, blah. Coach Nico confirms post-match that it was a disciplinary decision. And I kind of like it, Primo. I kind of like it, although the team did need Guilherme Biru. It does send a right message to the rest of the group and say, hey, you lose your head in a moment that doesn't even make sense, you will be punished. If MLS doesn't sanction these players, Coach Nico is there to step in and be that, older figure or be that father figure that, is disciplining his students or whatnot. And I really like this message that Coach Nico sent to the rest of the team and says, hey, if you act out, if you lose your head in a silly moment like that, you're going to pay somewhat. You're going to have something to pay. And they missed out on match day one. And you can say Guilherme Biru was missed. It is what it is. But that's the situation that we're currently dealing with, mate. And I honestly like it. I applaud Coach Nico for that.
So just to clarify, so this wasn't anything that carried over from any of the games. This isn't anything by the league. This is straight just Coach Nico. Hey, because of the way you're acting throughout preseason, I'm gonna sit you out this game. Is that?
If I'm not mistaken, Primo, yes. Because if there was something from the league, then they would have been on the MLS disciplinary report, and they were not. There would have been something released saying, hey, these two players cannot play or whatnot. So it seems like this was an internal decision. Now, maybe I got a little bit of a detail wrong. I know that Verde All Day released something on that. You can check out that information by what they had released on that side. And based off of the words that Coach Nico pretty much said in post-match press conference, it does seem like this was an internal disciplinary decision. And I like the message. I really, really do like the message, because if you do something silly at your job, you'll probably get in trouble for it. You might get a write-up. Same with me. Same with people listening to this podcast. So I like that there's consequences for losing your head in a moment that really just didn't even make sense. Not at all. So we move, and hopefully that they're back for the next match day. I think Guilherme Biru will slot into everybody's starting 11 against DC United, and we'll just leave it at that, brother. Now, to pull the lineup back up onto screen here, in the midfield, you had Ilya Sanchez, Dani Pereira, and what looked like Facu Torres, a very free role. He was that number 10, but it seemed like he was all over the pitch. I saw him on the right. I saw him being in defensive zones, trying to get involved with the ball, carry the ball forward. But I really liked what I saw from this midfield group, Primo. I thought that their one-touch passes were phenomenal. I mean, when you're playing pickup and you and your mate get some first touch passes off, you get hyped up. Ooh, 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 you know what I'm saying? And I saw a lot of that from Facu, from Dani, and Ilya Sanchez, who looked like a 22-year-old kid out there. I mean, that's the MLS vet in this Austin FC side. But I want to get your thoughts. I mean, what did you think about this midfield group? I really liked what I saw from them. Dubersalski is going to slot in perfectly to finish matches for you. And I hope that he starts to win his position in this Austin FC side. I don't really count Salovic in this group anymore, if I'm being quite honest, because I like what Dubit offers you in the closing minutes of a match. But how did you see Ilya Sanchez, Facu Torres, and Dani Pereira versus Minnesota, mate?
It was really awesome to see, especially in person. Just the way Facundo is moving throughout the field, you can obviously tell that he has that free roll. Maybe that pass by Nico. Hey, you can move wherever you want, just find the space, find the play, find the connection. And I think he was connecting really well with Jaden. I really love that connection that they had between both of them. It just seems like maybe they got cleaned up a little bit, and it can maybe become a thing. Both feeding off of each other really well. Um, and then the way Ilya, I think Ilya really surprised me, man. Like you said, MLS vet came out swinging. He did his thing. A lot of people were kind of in doubt because of the age, but he also provides a lot of leadership in that group. So um, it was really good to see him out there, and he was moving really good. And then our man right here, Mr. Danny Pereira, doing his thing, man. He looked really good. He looked really involved in everything that was going on. Had a few shots on goal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Just a little bit of
Mm-hmm.
everything all in that midfield. And then you got Dubasarski coming in. He looked really good with the minutes that he got. And then someone that can maybe slide in if one of these guys gets a knock, or something happens with that midfield, he can slide in for Elia. Just overall, it just looked really good. Definitely, definitely different from last season. So
100%. And honestly, the addition of Facu Torres to this team has been phenomenal. And it's just match day one. I mean, from preseason, we heard that Facu Torres was he was organizing asados to bring the group together to start creating that sense of camaraderie, to be the leader, and somebody needs to be that guy. Somebody needs to pull the team together and say, "Hey, we're all moving this way, but as a unit, right? Not groups going this way, groups going that way, groups going here and there. No, everybody is united." And I really liked another detail from preseason that we got. Jaden Nelson let us know that he was staying with the Spanish speaking crew. He was like, I don't even know Spanish, but I was staying with them because I'm trying to get to know them. And that's exactly what you need. I remember reading Ancelotti's book and how he was saying that when he got to PSG had no structure whatsoever. Guys were leaving the facilities to go have dinner by themselves, this and that. And Ancelotti set a structure to have guys eat there all the time, have all the nutrition that they needed there all the time. Everything that they needed was at the PSG St. David's Performance Center, pretty much. And there was a little clique starting to form. Ancelotti nipped that right in the butt, and he started mix matching people so everybody could have lunch together at some point in time. And I'm not saying that Facu Torres is Ancelotti, but I'm just saying that that is needed, Primo, in all of this, in this soccer things, and not in this footy world. It's needed. You gotta be down to fight for your brother. You gotta be down to you gotta be down to do the dirty work for your teammate, and it goes a long way, 100%, brother. But moving forward, we had in the attack the front three, I guess you could say, Nelson, Usuni, and Joseph Rosales. I know Facu Torres can also be included into the group as well, but I associated him a lot more with Dani Pereira and Ilya Sanchez. But Jaden Nelson, Joseph Rosales, the two new guys got so much love from the fans online, the reaction online that I was seeing. They're happy with the new signings. And then one thing that I wanted to mention on one of the quotes that we posted of Jaden Nelson, which I'll read right now. Somebody commented, "Cubo Juan Pablo." He says, "Man is not even fully fit, and he looks better than most wingers we've had on this team ever." And I sat there and I thought about that comment, and I was thinking about how Jaden Nelson was playing, and I was like, "That's not a bad take. That's not a bad take, brother." And the quote that we're referring to actually is not that one; is this one right here. We asked Jaden Nelson because he was brought up around the 70-something minute. Seemed like it was somewhat of an injury. People were getting concerned, and they were asking me, "Hey, man, did you see anything?" Because they knew that I was up there in the box, and they were asking me, "Hey, Did you see anything? A lot of people were concerned, and I was getting a lot of private messages saying if I knew anything. I was like, guys, I'm watching the same thing you are. You know what I'm saying? But Jaden Nelson let us know post match. He says, I'm good, just cramping. No one should be concerned. I'm back for the next game for sure. A really good sign, something that the fan base loved to hear. Jaden Nelson, Joseph Rosales, what a debut in front of those fans at Q2 Stadium. And I wanted to ask you, Primo, what did you think of those two new guys?
I'm a huge fan of Jaden after this last game, man. Super fast. This guy's fast, dude. They were sending him
Yeah,
through balls. He'll be the first one to get that touch. Ball control really decent for being a speedy guy and coming in from the wings. Can cut in. Everything was looking good. Some people were saying that he is definitely filling in that maybe not too much of a void that Bukhari left, but definitely, filled in whatever he left and maybe even more, because he seems to be a really good player. And yeah, people were worried. You're like, oh, hopefully he didn't get hurt this first game because he looked really good
100%.
out there. People are excited to
Hmm.
see him in the next games to come. So I'm glad it's nothing too serious. And
Same.
as far as Rosales, a lot of Honduras fans, definitely coming out to support Joseph Rosales. He looked good. Maybe not the best of games. I think Jaden looked slightly better, but just a whole new attitude on those wings, man. A whole new
Hmm.
set right there.
I agree 100% with that. Just a whole new attitude, a bunch of just new energy on those wings. And that's something that Austin FC has desperately needed for so long because, Danny Pereira does a great job at the center of the pitch, but he's not a winger. Owen Wolf did a fantastic job on the wing in 2025, but I don't think that's his natural position, if I'm being quite honest. So to have guys like Jaden Nelson and Joseph Rosales just fit the system like a glove, and you did mention Rosales, maybe he didn't have the best of games. I kind of agree with that. I think maybe he would have wanted done a little bit more. But overall, a good game, a good face to the fans on match day one. It was really needed. It was a breath of fresh air knowing that the new signings are actually going to be good for Austin FC this year. I mean, that's something that the fan base can't take for granted. I mean, how long has it been until you felt this good about like a brand new signing? It's been a minute. It's been a minute because it was always, oh, you got to give them time to get acclimated. Jaden Nelson and Joseph Rosales hit the ground running, brother. They hit the ground running, dude. And we also had some quotes here from Joseph Rosales. He says, "We created more than Minnesota. We deserve the win, but well, it's the nature of football." And he's absolutely right. If football punishes you if you don't take chances, I think Austin did let Minnesota back into this game. They had moments where they could have killed it off, but Rosales is very clear. He says that they created more than them. They deserve the win, but hey, it's the nature of football. In football, you don't really deserve anything. You got to win it out there. But Austin was clearly the better team, and don't take it from me. Take it from somebody that was actually on the pitch. John Gallagher here. He says, "Quote: We played too good to only get a point. We were the better team by a country mile." And anytime somebody says a country mile, they're serious about the distance, bro. Because anybody would have said we were better than them by a mile. A country mile? That's some serious dialogue. There's some serious language there from John Gallagher, bro. But no, I just wanted to just bring up those quotes because I think that they did fit well. And then also we had John Bell, another new signing. He did mention that he didn't get them all the minutes that he wanted, but he knew that his time was coming. He got his chance, and he did quite well when he did come on. He says, "Quote: A game like this definitely feels more like a loss than a tie." And I think a lot of people leaving Q2 Stadium were probably in. They agree with this, but the same amount of people are leaving Q2 Stadium saying, "Hey, we looked a lot better than previous years." So it's just different takes, different mindsets, but overall, I think everybody can really just leave Q2 Stadium knowing and thinking that there was positives from this match, 100%. And then the leader, the new DP Facu Torres, he says, "Quote: We had the lead twice, but were unable to finish the match. We are left with a slight bittersweet taste for not securing the win." And that's exactly what it is, man. It's a bittersweet feeling because sweet because you were up twice. You had the stadium bumping with an early goal. And then it gets bitter when you're not able to close out the match. And I wanted to talk a little bit about Mirto Usuni, mate. Unfortunately, we weren't able to catch up with him post match. By the time the media went in, he was already gone. Maybe he had something to do. Maybe he was linking up with some of the boys, or I don't know. Maybe he was eager to go home and call his family because he got a goal. he really thought that he had the winner. I thought he had the winner at minute 76. I think the entire stadium thought that he had the winner at the minute 76. But unfortunately, Minnesota took advantage of that weird situation with a non-contact injury picked up by Robert Taylor. We still need to see exactly what's going on there. They're going to run tests, and we should know probably by midweek, I think Thursday, when the media availability happens. But your thoughts, Primo, on Mirtu Usuni? I mean, how massive is it for his confidence that he got that goal? And oh man, how even more of a boost would it have been to this player if it would have been the winner? Because just real quick, everybody has been killing this player, just bringing him down, and saying, "Hey, you're a flop signing, hyped up, this and that." If that would have been the winner, a lot of people would have maybe started to backtrack what they were saying in previous years. And it doesn't need to just be one goal, but that energy, the mindset, the confidence that the confidence boost that he would have got would have started something crazy. But I'm hoping that even though the game was tied 2-2, Usuni is still able to use this moving forward against DC United, which is coming up next, and continue on this goal scoring run because he needs it. The fan base wants it, and he still has to back up a lot of the things that he said when he arrived with Austin FC, the breaking goal situation and breaking record situation and all that. But this is a good start. If it would have been the winner, it would have been 10 times better. What do you think, mate?
It's a good start for Mr. Zuni. I mean, it's one of those things where, yeah, if they would have gone to win, would have felt so much better. But I think it did give him the confidence. I think it did give him some kind of confidence. If you look at it black and white, you know, what is going to give this guy confidence? Goals. That's what he did the first game. He scored a goal. Some people were saying that it was taken away by John Gallagher. I looked at the replay. It doesn't look like the ball's going in off of that header from John Gallagher. Maybe I don't think it was going in. So I'm not gonna say that he took away that goal. He was in the right spot in the right position.
Yeah.
Sometimes these goals,
There's
they're not gonna be bangers every time. If it's a tap in, a goal's a goal. But he gets his name on the score sheet, and I think for sure it has to build his confidence. I mean, just the way it was last season and the way people were kind of coming at him. I'm gonna say it's probably not enough to convince them, obviously, but it's on the good. It's on it's where it needs to be. It's going on the right track. So
It's a start. It's a start 100%. And just like you said, it's, going on the right path. And it actually brings up a point here. Duersarski, we got to speak with him post match. And it was funny, mate, because Duersarski was the last player to leave the locker room. I think he actually was running some tests because we noticed that he was walking a little sluggish, like he was walking with a knock. And I asked him, I was like, "Hey, mate, I noticed how you were walking. Is everything okay?" And he was like, "Oh, yeah, there's some small problem with my hamstring, but it's all clear." So I think that they ran maybe some quick tests or whatnot, and he says he's good. So I'm gonna believe the player. But one of the things that Duersarski said, he says, "quote I believe the team played a good match, and we must continue on that path." So kind of going in line with what you said about continuing on this road. He also said. There are obviously things to work on. It is the first match. This is just the beginning, and that's paraphrasing, not paraphrasing, but a small piece of what that full answer was. And you could check that out on our Instagram, We're Austin TV. Also, it's up on the website, we'reaustintv.com. Make sure to visit us there. But it's good to hear the players say these things because they know that obviously it's not. It wasn't exactly what they wanted to do. They wanted those 3 points, but there's things to work on 100%, mate. I mean, it's just a good face. It's a different view of this team. And the fact that the boys know that they have things to work on, I think the fan base is not convinced, like you said, but it is a good thing for them to see this team so together, so fluid, right? And if they can correct those two defensive mistakes, you can probably say, you're looking at a 2-0 win against Minnesota. I mean, a convincing win at home against the Loons. So it is what it is right there, mate. But anything else you want to add on some of these players, bro? And, we talked about Mirtu Usuni. This is the lineup right here. Man of the match, I think, for me was Facundo Torres for the Austin FC side. I think what he brought onto the pitch really was game-changing. I mean, you got to be careful when you give players the name of a game changer. And I think Facundo Torres is that game changer that Austin FC has needed for so long. And I'm happy that he's here, bro. Anything you want to add?
No, I mean it's just it's looking good. I think from the players that we got in, and then also we are missing two key players. I can't
Yes,
even imagine what this team
yes,
is going to look like once we
yes.
get those guys in, based on yesterday's performance. Because I mean it's it wasn't it wasn't maybe what people were wanting. You know, everyone wanted that dub, but there's a lot of positives that you can digest from this game, that I think outweigh some of the negatives. So I'm super excited for next game. We got DC United next. I think everyone is looking pretty good. I'm hoping we win that game, man. I don't think there's no reason why we shouldn't, especially if we just clean up those mistakes that helped that Minnesota team get the draw.
Yep.
But overall, the players, I'm happy with everyone, how everyone looked. Stuver coming in big. I think he came big like
Prime
twice.
Stuver, Prime
You
Stuver. I'm
know,
sorry, Stuver. I'm sorry, mate. If I jinxed you, I'm very aware that I'm really good at that. I'm very aware. People let me know all the time. They're like, dude, just shut up. Just shut up. You know what I'm saying? But Stuver, I mean, that one save. I think you know what save I'm talking about.
yep,
Stopped it with his chest, and then he fired it towards Stuver. How did he keep that out of the net, bro? I don't know how. I don't even know even
fast.
further. I don't even know how he's not being called up or considered for the U.S. West national team, bro. He does this week in and week out. It's not like, oh, this is a coincidence. Oh, he had a great year last year. That's why he was all star. No, he's been the savior for Austin FC for now 6 years and counting, brother. Respect Brad Stuver, mate. Just please give him his respect, y'all. And I'm not talking to the fan base, the Austin fan base. They respect him. I'm talking to the entire country. Respect Brad Stuver, bro, because what a player he is. And not disrespecting Damian Loss, but that position is Brad Stuver's. I mean, Loss is a great backup keeper for Austin FC right now. I don't think he's a backup keeper at all. I think Austin is lucky to have him at that position. But no, two great keepers that Austin FC has right now. But Brad Stuver, oh my days, brother. Lights out against Minnesota. And I'm sorry if I jinxed it because after I tweeted that, he was a busy man between the sticks, bro. I'm not going to lie. I felt bad. I felt bad. But real quick, Primo, you mentioned something very important. We got to talk about the players that weren't there, not counting Brsar Slovic or Guilherme Biro. And by the way, if there was an official suspension, they would have been on this list. If I'm not mistaken, Primo, they would have also been included here. It would have had suspension next to their name. So, Mikel Dessler out with the groin. Brandon Vasquez, he's still out recovering from that terrible, terrible season-ending injury against San Jose at PayPal Park, and then Owen Wolfinho, still dealing with that sports hernia situation that he's got going on there. And, we don't really got to talk about Brandon Vasquez much. He was out there signing autographs, kissing a few babies, shaking some hands, what I like to say. It was a really nice gesture for him to be out there and, taking care of everybody, signing autographs. I think that's great. But Mikel Dessler and Owen Wolf, made Coach Nico post match. He doubled down on the fact that Owen's recovery is taking a bit longer than what they thought, and he mentioned that Mikel Dessler will probably start doing some team drills on Tuesday. So excited for that. And an argument that we had recently with Diego Valencia is that when Mikel Dessler comes back, I don't think it's going to be as easy for him to take over that right back position to take it away from Johnny G, because what we saw from John Gallagher against Minnesota was fantastic, brother. I call him the invincible man. You were there when we were talking to him at the Yeti event, and I said, Johnny G, they can't get rid of you, man. Johnny G, they don't know what to do with you, brother. You're never hurt. You're always available. And what good is it that Mikel Dessler is the best right back on paper if last year he never played 90 minutes? He cannot get consecutive games under his belt to save his life. I think he's very talented. One of Rodo's best signings to date, Mikel Dessler. But if he's not available week in and week out, I'm going with Johnny G, bro. I'm going with Johnny G. And then what we saw against Minnesota, not only was he good on the defense, but you saw he got the assist to Mirto Usuni. Literally more than half a goal, three-quarters of a goal is what John Gallagher sent to Mirto Usuni. Mirto Usuni just had to use part of his body. I won't say what part of his body, but he used you know what I'm talking about, to put the ball into the back of the net. I mean, Johnny G does the job in the back. Johnny G does the job in the front. And I'm not going to say respect him, man, because he's one of the most respected players in this organization. So just real quick, Primo, do you agree with me when I say that it's going to be tough for Mikael Dessler to come back into this defensive line? What do you think?
Yeah, it's not like he's just gonna slide in out of nowhere. He's gonna have to work for that position, especially with
100%.
the injury, man. You know, coming back from an injury, you have a guy that's already kind of doing pretty good in your position. You can't expect it to be that easy. You know, you're gonna have to show out in practices when you're gonna win that week out. You're gonna have to do the most with the minutes that they do give you. It's gonna be tough, and John G is no slacker for sure. You know, John G is gonna make sure that he does get those minutes, and when he does, he makes a difference, man. He makes a huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
He's always in that position. How many times have you seen him in that back post, ready to either slide in, give a corner, receive? He's always there.
Mm-hmm.
Super good, athletic wise. I think he's probably the most athletic guy on the team. Um, you know, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough for Desler, but it's always good to have that competition. You know, you have two guys that are really good in the same position. We are
Mm-hmm.
playing different tournaments, different competitions this season. So
Yep.
so hopefully he can take advantage of that. But it is
Mm-hmm.
not going to be easy.
There's going to be minutes for everybody. I think you actually hit that spot on, man. You hit the nail right on the head with that. There's going to be opportunity for a lot of players when those competitions start to come our way. There's I remember last season in May there was 7 games in a month, and everybody was freaking out because what were they going to do because of rotation? And correct me if I'm wrong, but this year, Primo, the bench I have a lot more confidence in the bench for Austin FC in 2026. And it was something that I always talked about last season. I always said, I look at Austin FC's 11 and it's a good 11. But when I start to look at the bench for solutions is when I'm starting to see some things that maybe I don't like 100%. I remember last year one of the main threats off the bench was Rubio. And I don't want to disrespect anybody, but if that's your main option coming off the bench, you're in trouble, mate. You are in trouble. And that's just a reality. It's just a reality. Robert Taylor wasn't doing things well last season, right? He was very sluggish. CJ Fodry, he's still a very young player, very young man. He went on a tear. Remember those couple of games where CJ was a monster, right? But you can't really expect him to do that week in and week out. Every player has those moments where they're in flow state. CJ experienced that most likely. But if he's the only one that's bringing up goals when coming off the bench. If Rubio is the one that you're really looking out for to come into the game and change the match for you, and he did have those kind of moments, right? But the bench last season for Austin FC was just not it for me, man. And this year, there's much more competition. This year, there's much more opportunity for rotation, and players can actually play the position that they're being sent to. I think that there's going to be just great things coming from the Austin FC bench in 2026, where you hadn't seen that before, at least in 2025. So just wait until Brandon Vasquez comes back. Wait until Owen Wolf is fully healthy, and then wait until Mikael Dessler is back into a fitness level where he can compete against guys like John Gallagher for those minutes. I mean, it's going to be phenomenal. And you also have Riley Thomas there that can play right back, and maybe Johnny G can push up once Mikael is fully healthy. You also have Urban Torres who can supply you with some good quality there in the midfield. I mean, things have changed this year. The additions have been pretty good for Austin FC, and of course, it's just match day one. There's still a lot more to come, but there was good signs that Austin FC fans saw from not only the starting 11 but from the bench last night against Minnesota United. Anything you want to add on to that bench point, mate?
No, I mean, just kind of, yeah, like what you mentioned. It's starting to look like a decent bench. Still some guys that are out, so it's just going to replace the guys that did play this last game, and it's just going
Mm-hmm.
to add more to the bench. Robert Taylor, I don't know. I
Yeah,
thought he
we
looked
need we need to
pretty.
talk about him.
Yeah, coming off the bench. So some of these guys, then you got some homegrown, Aaron Torres waiting for his moment.
Mm-hmm.
It's looking
John
good. It's
Bell,
looking good. John
Mateja
Bell.
Djordjevic,
Some
100%.
guys that we still brought in who are still waiting for those minutes. But yeah, over Damian Lass on, so it's looking good, man. It's looking good.
I agree with you 100%, man. 100%. And on the Robert Taylor topic, I don't want to spend too much time on it, but I think he does deserve flowers. And I hate to say it, but he went from hero to zero very quick because he came on for Jaden Nelson. We now know that Jaden Nelson was cramping. He's fine. He's going to be ready to go. But Robert Taylor came in and this is a different Robert Taylor. And I want to send a shout out. I want to send a shout out to the Battered Herons, a podcast that I did an awesome preview in the off season. But he told me, he was like, "Hey, you know that Robert Taylor's known for that, right?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "He might have a sluggish first couple of months with the club or first season with the club, but then he kicks it on." And this is the kick on moment from Robert Taylor, and it's so unfortunate, lad, that he picked up a non contact injury. He really couldn't continue, brother. He couldn't continue. From the he got it. He picked up the injury right in front of the press box, so we had a great view of it. He couldn't continue, bro. He couldn't run. He could. He It was
Oh
bad,
man.
bad, bad, bad. But even then, he stayed up on his feet. He was trying to, continue the play. And honestly, mate, I think that was a big mistake because what have should have happened. Robert Taylor should have gone to the ground immediately when he felt that he couldn't continue. The referee would have stopped the game. The match would have been paused, and that 91st minute goal from Yaboa would have probably never happened. You leave Q2 Stadium with 3 points with the 2-1 win. The prediction that I put out there, I said 2-1 Austin FC, 2-2. And honestly, mate, I think if Robert Taylor would have just hit the ground, I really do believe that the match would have ended very differently for Austin FC. And on the space, I actually, gave a personal story. I remember when I was playing against McCallum at Noack Field. I was a center back that game. I think I was a junior, or yeah, I think it was a junior, if I'm not mistaken. Might have been a sophomore, but it was varsity already. And I remember we were playing McCallum. There was a guy named Gio. I had heard that he had tryouts with Atlas. I had heard that he had tryouts with like some Mexican teams. I think Bali knows him, but his name was Giovanni or Gio, and he was really good, bro. Really good. He was just a level above the rest. Like you could tell right away. And it was my task to guard this kid. And I remember in a 50-50, our kneecaps clashed. Like just nasty, bro. And he was a bigger kid than I was. He had all the nutrition, looked like he had all the right workouts or whatnot. I was just a sophomore varsity center back. You know what I'm saying? Like this guy was having tryouts with Liga MX teams at that age, and I was just doing my best to keep up with him. You know what I'm saying? And when our knees clashed, I immediately felt mine blow up. I felt it right away, bro. And what I did, I made a big mistake, bro. I made a big mistake. I I crawled outside of the pitch and I laid back against the fence. And somebody from the outside, a senior that had, well, somebody, an alumni. He was a senior the year before that he had graduated. It was Meme. I don't know if you know Meme. He was tall as hell. He told me, he was like, "Dude, get back on the field. Get back on the field." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And so I crawled back onto the pitch. And when I crawled back onto the pitch, the referee stopped the game. And then Trainer Blair came out and he said, he was like, "Oh, you got this and that. Come with me." I iced my knee for like maybe a month. But I'll never forget that. And it made me think of this moment. I was like, Robert Taylor, if you would have just dropped to the ground, the referee would have stopped the game, and the athletic people, the medical staff would have came in and given you attention, and the match would have ended differently for us in FC, bro. And I think Coach Nico talked about that post match. I don't want to say that he was upset, but he was a little bit animated when that topic came up. But any thoughts on that weird situation with Robert Taylor, because it was a weird little moment, bro, because that threw everybody off. And Coach Nico mentioned that they were going to make a sub, then they had to change the sub, and he didn't even see the goal by Yaboa because his back was to the field because he was trying to figure out what they were going to do. It all happened so quick, and literally one moment changes the entire match.
That's soccer for you, man. That's soccer
Yeah.
for you. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
that's any little moment, any little thing like that can make the game go such a complete different way. And yeah, I mean, and it's just those small things that maybe they just gotta brush over. Like, hey, if you go down, make sure you do. Make sure you do it, and. But who knows? But at the end of the day, that's soccer, that's football. Um, a little unfortunate for Robert Taylor. He came out hot. He gave in that pass to John G. So
Mm.
he was looking
Yeah.
he was looking pretty good, and for him to pick up that knock on it always sucks whenever it's the home opener. You're ready to go. Bam, knock, injury, whatever
Yeah.
it is. I think Evander picked up an ACL injury
Yeah. Yeah.
during the
Yeah. He
home
did. He got.
opener.
Yep. Yep. He did.
It's just so it just sucks, man. So hopefully it's nothing crazy. Hopefully he's able to go back out and and get these minutes in because he was looking pretty good. He was looking pretty good
Hmm.
from what he got. So we'll see.
No kidding, bro. And just one more thing on Robert Taylor. I mean, the best version of Robert Taylor that we have seen it was literally these minutes that he came on versus Minnesota. You mentioned he got that cross in to John Gallagher. Gallagher told us that he was heading it to Mirto Usuni. He was not heading it towards goal. He was heading it to Mirto, but he did admit that it looked like it could have been going in, but it was a pass towards Mirto Usuni. That's confirmed from the horse's mouth from Johnny G himself. And also, Coach Nico post match, he was saying that Robert Taylor had a phenomenal preseason. We saw the banger goal that he scored against. He scored it against Chicago, if I'm not mistaken. It was Chicago, that 2-2 game where he scored a goal with his right foot. Beautiful, beautiful goal. And it sucks. It sucks that Robert Taylor was having such a good preseason, had good minutes against Minnesota, and then boom, out of nowhere, non-contact injury. And I think that's the most frustrating part. It was non-contact. There's nobody to blame, but maybe the movement that he did. And Coach Nico did say that he's hoping that it's nothing too severe, that it's just a twist in his knee. But like I said earlier, mate, we're gonna have to wait and see until they run those tests, and we might know around Thursday or Wednesday. But us here at We're Austin TV, we're gonna keep you informed. We're going to let you know exactly what's going on. So just stay tuned, follow the page, check the website, and that news will be coming out here soon. But at the end of the day, Primo, points were shared. It was a 2-2 draw. Hindsight with the first goal. Mirtu Suni thought he had the winner at the 76th minute, but Yaboa had other plans. Minnesota had other plans. They took advantage of a weird moment that we just talked about, and the game finishes 2-2. Unfortunate result, but so many positives to build on. I think the fan base saw a lot of good things. And I think the most important thing, Primo, I think what nobody is talking about is the Pluckers cards. When you leave Q2 with Pluckers cards, you know it was a good day, bro. I'm just kidding. I'm just trolling at this point. I'm just trolling at this point. But I heard the announcer say 5 times, Pluckers cards. I was like, dude, we get it. Everybody's getting Pluckers cards. We get it. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, bro. Anything else you want to touch up on from this match? I mean, overall, it was a good showing from the new players. Unfortunate to drop 2 points at home. But if they can correct these things, I mean, this is going to be a very interesting team to watch as the season moves forward, especially with the signing of Facundo Torres, the addition of Jaden Nelson, and also Joseph Rosales.
Yeah, we do pick up the first point of the season.
Yeah.
Not maybe in the best of fashion, but definitely a point. These points mean a lot in this league. So, and either draws or as many points as you get at home means so much towards the end. So, I don't think it's just. I think this is good. I think it's good. They got things to learn from. DC United's up next at home. It's an earlier game,
Mm-hmm.
so it's going to be maybe a little warmer, a little bit of a better weather to play in. Not saying that maybe had an effect, but definitely a different environment, different scenario. And I think that they're going to come out just the same way. I think they look
Mm.
good. They look good.
You know what? I think you're right. I think this could be a very similar team to the one that faces DC United next week. Sunday at home, 1:30 kickoff. It's going to be a weird one. I know people are going to be thrown off. That means I have to be at Q2 Stadium damn near at 6 in the morning, brother. Yeah. Yeah, what was it? Saturday when I sent to the chat at 9 a.m. I was like, hey guys, I'm on the way to Q2. They're like, what are you gonna go set up? Are you gonna go sweep or what? I was like, nah, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But it is gonna be an early kickoff. It'll be weird. And I don't keep too many tabs on DC United, but I do know that they made a monstrous signing in the offseason. They picked up Ty Baribo. He scored the goal for them in the match. I forget who they beat, but they won their game. They beat Philadelphia, which is Ty Baribo's former team. And Ty Baribo got the goal for DC United. He was an all-star. I saw him in the Austin FC locker room last year. Eli Lesser was chopping it up with him. I thought that was pretty cool. But no, all eyes on Ty Baribo and all eyes on Svatok and Heinzlike to see how they shut him down. I'm hoping that this is something that the team works on the entire week, how to shut down Ty Baribo, and more importantly, cutting off the service to Ty Baribo, because maybe you're not able to control Ty Baribo, put him in a pocket, right? But if you cut off the service to Ty Baribo, that means that he has to do double the work now, right? So just keep an eye on that player. He's really good. He's phenomenal. He's on my fantasy team. He's on our fantasy team, Primo, the Western TV best ball team, which absolutely cooked this weekend. I got to say, everybody scored, bro. Surridge, Ty Baribo, Guilherme. We cooked, bro. Harto. I mean, stop the count, please. Give us the cup right now. And I'm hoping that the North End comes out with those standings tomorrow because I'm sharing that. I know we're in first place. Nobody else had a better week. I know we're in first place. So, and if we're not, I'm withdrawing from the competition. Withdrawing for corruption, Commissioner. Withdrawing for corruption. But I'm just trolling now, brother. But in all seriousness, the game against DC United is going to be a really good one. I want to see a very similar team than what we saw against Minnesota. And I think they have the quality to get the job done. I mean, Mirto Suni is going to be inspired. We now know what Facundo Torres is able to do with this Austin FC side. The new additions, like we mentioned, Rosales and Jada Nelson have been phenomenal. But just keep an eye on this DC United side. I mean, any intel you have on this team, man? What do you got on them?
Not too much off of DC United. I know that they did make that signing with Ty Baribo, but I don't know. I don't know if the fan base was aware of the signing. I don't know if they're aware of DC United, but from what I was getting is that they're not. They're kind of looking at them as like lunch meat, dude. They're kind of looking at them as like an easy game. Like this is gonna be
Mm,
an easy game. Austin FC should win. They should need them up.
mm,
Like this is gonna be a no-brainer. I don't know about after last night's game, Philadelphia did pick up a red card, so I think that definitely helped them out. But they finished out the
mm-hmm.
game. They got on the score sheet. Their new signing scored. We'll see how they handle them now. I don't know. I'm not too convinced now. I don't know,
Damn.
but I think it's maybe it'll probably be a decent game. It'll probably be one of those 50-50 games at the end of the day. Yeah, but for some reason I was getting a lot of like, oh, they're not, they're the worst team right now in the East. They don't got nothing
Mm.
much going on. I don't know about all that right now, but we'll see.
Ty Baribo can make you pay. And last thing on DC, mate. This is going to be a very interesting storyline to follow. But you remember Jared Stroud?
Yeah, yeah,
You remember Stroudy?
yeah.
He's a
Oh my
DC
God.
United player, bro. So if he tries to pull that move off that he got on Kip Keller, we're fighting, bro. We're something, something,
Oh
man.
my
Because
God.
ever since that dude Kip Keller disappeared, bro, he's now playing in the freaking USL. And I remember Kip Keller was getting shouts to go to the national team. Remember that? People were very high on Kip Keller, bro. And then after that weird moment with Jared Stroud, and I don't even know if that destroyed their relationship, because they were friends. They were friends, and then Jared Stroud pulled a fast one, and I think Kip Keller felt really just blindsided by that. And it's not Jared Stroud's fault. I think Kip Keller has to take some blame in this 100%. You're a professional player. This shouldn't be happening. I mean, Austin was the laughing stock on social media for so long, saying, "Look what's happening in MLS. This is what happens in MLS. This is why I don't take MLS serious." But I think that's obviously on the surface. Kip Keller probably heard a familiar voice. My boy, like Jared Stroud's like, "Hey, kid, pass it back." And in the moment with 20,000 fans screaming, just harsh from Jared Stroud. But you got to do what you got to
So
do to win the
so he's
game, and
coming. He's coming back. He's coming back.
he's coming back. He's coming back. So if the team can get a win against DC United, consider that revenge for Kip Keller. Jared Stroud coming back. I think that's a very important storyline moving forward, bro.
Nice,
Very
nice.
interesting there. But alrighty, mate. I think we can get out of here. I really think that we covered everything quite well on the game. Bittersweet feeling, bittersweet taste leaving Q2 Stadium. People thought Osuni had the winner, but due to maybe a slight misconcentration moment or the Robert Taylor non-contact injury that threw everybody off, you can hear Coach Nico say it himself. Points were shared. And so now you got to focus on DC United to see if that's your first win of the season in front of your home fans. After that, you go to Charlotte, which is a tough team to play. It's going to be away from home. And you got to start thinking about Miami. That game is also coming up. And I'm wondering if the MLS disciplinary committee is going to actually do something about Leo Messi going into the referee's locker room, because I'm seeing a lot of official pundits and stuff like that try to defend the action from Leo Messi and the disrespect that he showed the referees. And if it was anybody else, if it was Mirtu Usuni, if it was Ilia Sanchez, if it was Danny Pereira that went into the locker room or allegedly went into the locker room, suspension 3 games. Not even thinking about it. And I know this for a fact that some players are treated differently because Matt Miazga did the same thing and was suspended for a couple of games. I remember that. And I left that comment on Golazo Network's official post, and it got quite a few likes on my comment. So fairness is what people want. Transparency is what people want. But is the league maybe weary? Is the league maybe, they think twice before getting Lil Messi mad? I mean, you know what money he pulls in. You know what kind of pull he has. So it'll be interesting to see how that storyline develops because Austin does have Miami coming up here soon in April, right? April 4th, if I'm not mistaken. So, I mean, maybe the suspension is completed before that even happens, but, just something to keep an eye on 100%. But, Primo, before we get out of here, bro, anything else you want to add to the show?
Um, I don't know if you don't mind. If you don't mind, it'll be quick. Top flight.
Mm-hmm.
This is top flight. We cover everything around
Mm-hmm.
world football. I can just read some scores real quick. Some interesting
Yeah,
scores.
go ahead.
We just
100%.
rapid fire real quick because I know we got fans from all over. Um, Arsenal beat Tottenham today 4-1. They topped the league, I think, with that. Liverpool beating Nottingham Forest. Real Madrid lost against Oviedo, I think is what it was, 2-1. They do
Osasuna,
drop points.
Osasuna, Osasuna.
Osasuna. They do drop the points there. Barca won today. They go back to the top of the league. 1 point separates both of them. It's getting kind of spicy in the Spanish league right now. Um,
You want to know something funny? Danny Bands Danny Bands texted me literally, I think the morning of that game, and he goes, "Hey man, I just wanted to thank you for putting me on Real Madrid. It's literally the only club that I love and that I follow. This and that." And I told him I was like, "Bro, they better win today. They better win today." And he was like, "Yeah, they are." And I was like, "Yeah." The game ended. I hit him. I was like, "What did I tell you? They freaking lost, man." Oh, dude. And I told him I was like, I'm wondering if it was because of the whole Vinicius situation going on, if that's looming on the players. And he was like, "Nah, it's not." And I was like, "Okay." So Danny Benz, you know him, and no, that I was very disappointed when I figured that I saw that Real Madrid had lost that game against Osasuna. I mean, it's Osasuna, brother. It's not Real Sociedad. It's not Atletico de Madrid. It's not Barcelona. We're talking
Yep.
about Osasuna. Respect,
Mm-hmm.
respect to Osasuna. I know that they've had Real Madrid against the ropes in previous years. I know that El Vasco Aguirre used to be their coach, and he got a couple
Yep.
wins off of them. I remember that. But it's Osasuna, brother, and you Real Madrid. I mean, you're not supposed to be losing these games, especially when the title is on the line. So, and then another thing you mentioned the EPL Arsenal. I know a lot of Arsenal fans. They are so
Oh,
scared that after a phenomenal start, they really gonna bottle the league, brother? Are they really gonna
that
bottle the league? I mean,
it happens.
oh my days. I
They're
mean,
scared
up
because
two
it's
nil,
happened so many times.
up 2-0 against Wolves, if I'm not mistaken, and then they tie 2-2. My own goal from Calafiori at the 94th minute is what really sealed the deal. Obviously, at that late moment in the match. But I'm seeing a lot of Arsenal fans just really, really scared right now, and they think that they're going to bottle it. If they beat Manchester City, because I think that game is still left, needed to be played, the return fixture. If they
Mm-hmm.
win that game, they should have a good grip on the league. They should. But if they continue to drop points, I mean, City is not a team that forgives too much. Right? They had a terrible season, and they're still up there trying to fight for the league against Arsenal. That tells you everything you need to know about Manchester City. And I think that they're playing for Pep because if I'm not mistaken, he confirmed that he's leaving after the season. No, Pep.
Yeah, I think there are talks about him, yeah, it being his last season. I'm not sure if it was 100% confirmed, but he is looking like this is gonna be his last. So
Hmm,
Pep is that coach that, hey, this is my last, I'm gonna go for it. So
100%.
don't write him off just yet. They did get the win today against Spurs in the North London Derby. A little bit disappointed on my end, but
Yeah,
their striker, man, Jokic just kills it sometimes. Dude. He just
this
went
dude,
off.
this guy.
Yes. Oh my God, dude,
Yeah.
that celebration.
Yeah, that guy. I know this guy. I know this guy. I know him. He's a quality player, and he got a lot of criticism early on because they were saying that he wasn't working out,
Yeah,
and he
he
wasn't
did. Yeah.
doing this, he wasn't doing that. But hey, they got the job done against Tottenham. I know that that's a big rival of theirs, the North London Derby, like you said. So, hopefully, I want Arsenal to win the league. I'll just say it. I want them to win the league because Arsenal fans have gone through so much, Primo. You know this firsthand. I mean, Bali has had mental breakdowns because of Arsenal in the past, brother. Arsenal fans have gone through it. They were the laughing stock for so long. I mean, Arsenal fan TV didn't really help, but it also did give the fans a big voice. And I think Arsenal fan TV really helped also at the same time because it put real pressure on, it was a disruptor in the media because now out of nowhere, fans had a big voice. And they
Hmm.
had Gary Neville on the show. They argued back and forth. I remember I think it's Gary Neville, right? It's not Phil Neville. It's Gary Neville.
Gary, I think,
Um,
yeah.
Gary Neville, and I remember they were ripping up Robbie, ripping up his channel or whatnot, and the argument behind that was what? So fans can't have a voice. Fans are the base of football. Without the fans, you're not doing anything. And so that's exactly what Arsenal Fan TV did. They disrupted the media, and out of nowhere, the power just shifted towards the fan base of Arsenal, and they were really heard 100%. And there was a fan recently on the Arsenal Fan TV clips that came out when they tied against Wolves, and she said if Arsenal can't beat Wolves, they don't deserve to win the league. That's a crazy statement, but kind of true, bro. If you can't beat the worst team in the Prem, why do you deserve to be the champion of the Prem? And I know teams have off days, but if you're poised to be the champion of the Premier League, you should be destroying a team like Wolves 4-0, 3-0 comfortably. Comfortably.
Hmm.
But we didn't see that. We didn't see that, and it's I'm rooting for you guys. I'm rooting for Arsenal fans. I'm right there with you guys, but the team needs to do y'all more favors, man. And I think that they're shaking in their boots. I really do think that they're shaking in their boots, and I hope that the moment's not too big for them, mate. Ah, anything else, brother?
No, I think those were some of the big
Oh,
topics I think
I'll add
throughout.
something. I'll add something.
Go for it, go for it.
Uh, I mean, everybody by now knows the situation going on in Mexico.
Oh, yes,
I
yes.
the Mexico. I mean, then Guadalajara. That's going to affect the World Cup.
Hmm.
That's it already affected Liga MX matches. I know that there was one game that was suspended. I believe it was between Querétaro and Juarez, I think, is what they sent to the chat. But I know that a match of Liga MX was suspended. And then I saw a video of a Liga MX femenil game that was going on. And then mid game, the referee just tells everybody, run, go into the locker room because they were suspecting there was a gunman or inside of the stadium. Because, I mean, by now you've seen all the videos of, they're just terrorizing the entire city because of the death of the CJNG leader, Nemesio Diaz, alias El Mencho. So, and also, Primo, before we get out of here, I just want to send strength to our friend Pete. He's currently in Michoacan right now. He's in Morelia, and he's been keeping us updated on the chat. I mean, it's a war zone out there, brother. And this is an Austin FC fan, Patreon member in our Discord, and he's literally in the zone of danger, brother. And if you have family out there, reach out to them, make sure that they're okay. I already did that. I reached out to my folks. Everybody's okay right now, but there's death everywhere. And this is going to affect the World Cup. I saw something. I don't know how legit this source is, but apparently there's already internal conversations about moving some games in Mexico
Yeah,
into the United States, brother.
yeah,
And I mean, what do you think of that?
yeah. It's tough to see, man. It's definitely tough to see how all this at the end of the day can affect football. You got, the World Cup coming up. It's something that's supposed to be a celebration, unity within countries and the world, and then it gets affected by something like this. You might not be able to host those games anymore. The federation might not even trust you anymore. The FIFA, might not even trust you anymore to hold these important games. So it sucks for sure because we expect this World Cup to be one of the biggest. This World Cup means a lot to me um, because of where it's being hosted and things like that. But then when I see all this go on, it hurts, man. It sucks. So, but yeah, if you have family, check in on them. I did the same thing. I checked in on people that I know, my family, and make sure everyone's okay. Also, to Pete, who's out there, we hope
Mm-hmm.
that he stays safe. So definitely, there's so much going on, around the world, that at the end of the day can affect what we love, which is football. But yeah, it
Yeah.
it, it sucks, man.
100%, brother. Not to get in too much of the world news and politics channel of the Discord, but like you
Right.
said, there's so many things going on. I mean, in the Middle East, and there's so much going on, brother. But if anybody's being affected by the situation, I mean, I'm sending strength to you guys. Our boy Pete, if there's anything, hopefully nothing too. Dude, I don't even know how to speak about this, Primo, because
Yeah, it's tough.
lives are being lost as we
It's a
speak,
tough
bro.
subject, man. Yep.
Literally, lives are being lost as we speak, and it's in a beautiful country like Mexico. It's such one of the nicest places in the world, but at the same time, one of the most dangerous places to be. And it's
Hmm.
so unfortunate. It's so unfortunate, but this is gonna affect the World Cup. This is gonna affect Liga MX future games, and no, I think we could just leave it there. But I really don't want to speak more on it. But I think it was important to bring up the topic at
Right.
100%.
Absolutely.
But alrighty, mate, let's get out of here. We will be back midweek. I'm going to try to get a preview out there for this DC United game after we speak with Coach Nico and the media availability. So keep an eye out for that. Spanish podcasts will also be coming out as well. So just keep an eye out for all those pieces of content dropping from our side. And thank you for all the support. I got stopped so many times outside of the Q2 Stadium yesterday, Saturday, and it's just a testament of all of our hard work. I mean, people love what we do. They respect the page, and that's literally all that I ask for, brother. And so big things are coming. I got a lot of things in the works, some things that I cannot talk about, but I'm so excited to really announce when they come to be. But in the meantime, subscribe to the pod, visit the website, join as a Patreon member if you'd like. It's a great way to support this platform, to support We're Austin TV, and we'll leave it at there. Have a good night, everybody. Please be safe, and we'll see you soon.